There comes a moment in everyone's life, sometimes on a quiet evening, sometimes after a long day, when we pause and ask ourselves, am I really living the life I want? It's not always a loud question, but a gentle whisper inside the heart. You think about the person you hoped to become. More focused, healthier, calmer, more fulfilled. And realize there's a space between who you are and who that person is. And somewhere in the middle of it lies the struggle we call change. Perhaps inside every person, there are two versions quietly coexisting, the one we are today and the one we wish to become. Between the two lies a distance, sometimes small like a few unformed habits, sometimes vast like a whole way of living. We tell ourselves we should wake up earlier, eat better, exercise regularly, read more, learn something new, or spend real time with loved ones instead of scrolling endlessly through our phones. These thoughts visit us often. At the start of a new year, on our birthdays, or on quiet nights when we feel empty and promise, tomorrow I'll start again. But soon enough, the pattern repeats. The first few days brim with motivation, the next few weeks fade into excuses, and eventually we find ourselves right where we started. Then comes the familiar whisper, why can't I stay consistent? What's wrong with me? The truth is, nothing is wrong with you. You're not weak or lazy. You're simply human. Our brains weren't built for change. They were built for efficiency, for doing what's familiar because it costs less energy. And only when we understand this can we truly learn how to move through the wild forest inside our minds. Imagine your brain as a vast forest. Each thought, decision, or action you take is like walking a path through the trees. The first time you do something new, it's like forcing your way through thick grass and tangled branches, slow and effortful. But every time you repeat it, the path becomes a bit clearer, smoother, easier. After many repetitions, it turns into a well-worn trail, then into a highway you travel almost automatically. These highways are your habits. They're shortcuts your brain builds to save energy, allowing you to act without thinking. But that's also why change is so hard. The old highways are wide and familiar, while the new paths are rough and uncertain. When you decide to change, wanting to wake up earlier, exercise, or stop checking your phone every 5 minutes, you're carving a new trail in that dense forest. At first, it's exhausting, but each repetition strengthens the trail until one day it feels natural. Inside every brain live two characters. One is the planner, calm, rational, and future-focused. The other is the impulsive child, emotional, reactive, and always chasing instant pleasure. When the planner speaks, you say, I'll start eating less sugar tomorrow. When the child takes over, you whisper, just one cookie won't hurt, neither is wrong. The planner helps you set goals. The child helps you feel joy. The challenge is not to silence one, but to help them work together. You can't fight the child, you must guide it. If you want to exercise, make it something the child enjoys. Listen to your favorite playlist while you move. If you want to read more, do it with a cup of tea you love. When pleasure is paired with effort, your brain begins to crave the behavior. Instead of resisting it, there's a subtle but powerful difference between a routine and a habit. A routine is something you choose to do, like planning, to study each night or scheduling your workouts. It requires conscious effort. A habit, on the other hand, is something you do without thinking, like brushing your teeth or checking your phone when you wake up. To turn a routine into a habit, you need 3 key ingredients. Clarity. Avoid vague goals like exercise more. Instead, make them specific. Do 10 squats right after brushing my teeth. A cue, a signal that tells your brain it's time to act. A time of day, a place, an object, or another action. Positive emotion. If the new action feels rewarding, your brain will want to repeat it. Repetition links these 3 together until your brain can follow the path automatically. What was once a decision becomes a reflex. Every journey begins with enthusiasm. At first, you're full of energy. You plan, you act, you believe. But then the excitement fades. The mornings feel heavier, the workouts harder, the progress slower. You start asking, is this even worth it? This is the stage where most people quit. But if you understand that motivation is temporary, you'll learn to rely on something sturdier. Systems. A system is made of small, repeatable actions, easy enough to do even when you don't feel like it. If you can't run today, walk for 5 minutes. If you can't read a chapter, read just 1 page. What matters is keeping the rhythm, keeping the forest path open so it doesn't grow wild again. And each time you show up, even for a little while, acknowledge it. Every small act of consistency whispers to your brain, "See, I'm doing it." Humans rarely change through willpower alone. We change when something feels good. If every new behavior feels like punishment, your brain will reject it. But if you sprinkle a bit of joy into the process, change becomes something you look forward to. Make good habits feel like a treat. Maybe you get to listen to your favorite podcast only when cleaning your room. Maybe your morning coffee is the reward for finishing your workout. The brain loves rewards, even tiny ones, and not all rewards are material. Sometimes the most powerful reward is seeing progress, noticing that you're a little stronger, calmer, or more patient than before. That quiet pride is the sweetest fuel for persistence. One simple yet transformative tool for lasting change is the habit journal. It doesn't need to be fancy, just a notebook where you record what you did, how you felt, and what you learned from each day. Writing things down does more than track progress. It helps you understand yourself. You'll see patterns. When you're most focused, what tends to distract you, what kinds of rewards actually work. You'll notice that even small steps, when done consistently, start to create real momentum. Over time, your journal becomes more than a tool. It becomes a companion, one that quietly reminds you that change isn't about perfection, but about showing up. No one wakes up one morning transformed into their best self. Change happens slowly, quietly, through thousands of small choices, often invisible to others. There will be days of excitement, days of boredom, days of doubt. But every repetition, every attempt, every gentle return to your path matters. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be a little better than yesterday. Because sometimes, the most beautiful thing about change isn't the goal you reach, but the person you become along the way. Someone who believes again in their own ability to grow. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize something softly extraordinary. The person you always wanted to become has been growing inside you all along, quietly, patiently, waiting for you to notice.